Guru Kripa Kevalam. Namaste and welcome everyone to Satsang today. Sadguru Shimoji Baba Ki Jai. Okay, you can
Hello.
come, Saloni. Namaste.
Hello. Namaste. Thank you for having me.
Very welcome. Very welcome.
So I want to share. I've come after a very long time. I want to share something, and I want to ask for your help. When first I spoke to you, before that there was so much suffering, but then it felt like a space open and things began to become better and better, and it became so much better that I my seeing was very much clear, and I could see the effects of it. I could see the fruits of it, like the joy and bliss, and my interactions with people around me also became so harmonious, like with my friends, my teachers, and also like people on like very normal people whom I don't know. It became so very well. But one day I was just struck by so much arrogance, and then I felt that I started descending from that day only, and I didn't know that I was being arrogant. I could not discern well that it was my mind or it was myself, my being. It was coming from the ways, my acts and my words are they coming from my being or my mind. I could not discern well, and then I'm being so nervous now.
Don't worry. Don't.
And so now I want to I this was my confession, so that these things don't remain locked up inside my being, and they don't have any energetic reality in my being, and so that I can expose them. I'm exposing them, and I want to ask for help, because now I follow those simple pointings which earlier helped me, like allowing the things to happen, allowing the things like thoughts to flow, and not getting involved in that. But that thing earlier brought me peace, so much joy, and so much light. But still, I follow that. I can sense I can have the feeling of, have the sense of being, but that there's still a sense of lack and incompleteness, which was not there earlier when I was immersed in my being. I want to ask for your help for that.
Good, good. Okay, so there's a sense of lack right now,
Yes.
and there was a prior experience where this sense of lack was not there. It used to feel completely complete.
Yes. Yes.
Now, the sense of lack, you see, is just a mind trick. There is no lack right now. Because lack would mean that God is not enough right now, God was enough then.
Yes, maybe I feel that.
So, this is a very powerful trump card that the mind plays sometimes, saying that your prior seeing was very full, but now there is something missing. It's not the same. You see, there is something wrong. And it utilizes this kind of imagery from memory, it projects all kinds of things saying you were so free then, all of those things. All of it in an attempt to be in denial of God right now. So your presence, your being, your consciousness, is it lacking? Is it less?
No, no, in itself it is not. But in my expression, it feels like, in my expressions, it feels like I am lacking.
So expression has nothing to do with it.
Hmm.
And I want to tell all of you this because all of you at some level may be judging yourself based on this expression. See? What comes out of this mouth, how the hands move, how the feet move. That has nothing to do with freedom. See? Freedom is free to use this body instrument to express in any which way. What you are realizing is that you are not this body. This body is an appearance along with the rest of the world. You see? So isn't the whole world your expression?
Isn't the whole world my expression?
Yes.
Maybe.
Why is this body only your expression?
Yes. Yes.
Sometimes in satsang we use these constructs just to clarify some things, but this is not the final pointing that, okay, this is your expression, this body is your expression. In the light of your being, this entire world emerges. And there is no distinction, there is no separation between anything in the world. And this body is just another perception within the world. See? So, like we say, let this be, let the world be, then it must include the body also be. So, if you pressurize yourself in this way, and last time also we spoke about exactly the same thing. If you pressurize yourself in this way that your freedom must be well embodied in this one body, then nobody can do it. You see, nobody can do it. Your consciousness is all there is, and you are beyond even that consciousness. You are beyond even that all there is. Now, how will this body express all there is? You see, then the body has to go left also, it has to go right also, it has to speak truth also, it has to speak lies also, it has to go up also, it has to go down also. All there is. You see, you have to stand still also and jump up also. How will this expression represent consciousness? And is that what we are really after? You see, is our quest for freedom so that we can give something special to this expression? Is it about freedom of this expression? Is it that I come to freedom? I realize that I am awareness beyond even the play of consciousness, so that this realization helps me as a body or an expression, whatever term we want to use. See? See? Now the mind will tell you, but if this expression doesn't change, you see, if still angry words are coming out of the mouth and actions don't seem like actions of an enlightened being, then what is the point of freedom? You see, it plays like that, isn't it? Now, what is the point of this freedom then? No? So the point never was to give something to this body. The point was you as consciousness to come back, to stop playing the play of being limited, to come back into its true recognition, its true realization. Is that not available fully right now?
Yes, I could not hear. Last question, last thing.
Is the recognition of your true nature not available right here, right now?
It is available.
See, it is available. So now cut off the linkage that recognition should mean something for this expression. That's how arrogance comes. No? Arrogance means what? You try to be something special in this body because you have come to some realization of what you are. That is arrogance. That I know. I have found the truth. You see? Is the truth saying that? The truth never lost the truth. So if you make the linkage again between the recognition and how this one should play out, see, then that is the fertile ground for arrogance. What should happen? Once you recognize yourself, what should happen to the body? It should become all like sadhu-like and, is it like that? What should happen? Yeah.
I was not talking about the body. I was talking about the peace and the bliss and joy. I was talking about that.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay. So peace, joy, bliss, they are in service to whom? Who are they created for?
They are there. They are just there.
Yeah. So consciousness, if you are to build a narrative of some sort, we can say that consciousness projects these primal forces, love, peace, and joy. And here we're not talking about that which is inherent in the self itself. We are talking about that which can be objectively tasted. Ah, there's so much love, like that. Oh, there's so much peace. Joy, joy, ananda, anand. You see, so we're talking about these aspects, not that which is inherent in the self itself, which is just beyond any qualities. But if you're talking about these, then the creator of these must also be consciousness, isn't it?
Yes.
You see? And they are here to serve whom?
Sell the mind,
Yeah?
sell it to.
To serve. They're here to serve consciousness itself. No? For consciousness no own joy, for consciousness own entertainment. There are love, peace, and joy. So the one that is tracking these is saying this should be more or this is not enough. You see? But consciousness is not making a mistake with that. Are we in this quest for freedom so that we can have more love, peace, and joy?
No.
Leave them.
Thank you.
That's it.
That's it. But I want to confirm also my seeing that what I practice as the being, is it that true? Is that true? Like the pointing is to allow the things and be as I am,
Yes.
and not getting involved.
Yes.
Is it okay? Is it okay to follow that?
It's very good. It's very good. It's very good. Are you aware now?
Yes.
You're aware now. Now,
Yes.
how do you confirm this?
Because I am aware.
Yes. But do you see this aware?
No.
Don't
But
see.
I am aware.
Huh?
I am aware. I know this is my knowing that I am aware.
Yes. But knowing means what? Do you have a concept of this?
No.
You see? So it's neither a seeing, that is, it's neither a perception, nor is
Yes.
it a conceptualizing, isn't it?
Hmm.
Now, you cannot do that wrong. It is impossible to do it wrong.
Yeah.
You can only do it wrong in the objective search. You cannot do it in the unobjective search. You can only do it wrong when you're searching phenomenally. So you say, okay, is this a phone? No, no, it's a typewriter. You know, some of you kids may not know what a typewriter is, but this you can mistake it in the phenomenal. Oh no, no, this is you're mistaken about this. You see? Or you may mistake it in the head. You may say, oh, what is the capital of India? Mumbai. No, 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 you're mistaken. It's actually New Delhi. No. So that's a conceptual error. One is a perceptual mistake of labeling what we may be calling something. But this, which is neither perceptual nor conceptual, you cannot make a mistake.
Yes.
Impossible. You can't, I mean, try to be a mistake. You can't do it.
Thank you.
See? So this nagging doubt, I know beats up many of you and say, how do I know? Father says, are you aware now? Father checks, am I aware now? He comes to a discovery. I come to a discovery, maybe. Is it the same? See? How many of you have felt this at times? See? This is very common. You may not expose it now, but see? Am I really doing this right? Am I really doing this right? Am I aware now? Yes. So, what's the big deal? I don't get it. Why does Ananta make such a big deal out of it? I'm aware. No fireworks, no siddhis, no love, peace, joy. Now I must be doing this wrong because I can't sit and share satsang like he does or Guruji does. You see? So, what is it? What's missing? I must be doing something wrong. So, this is the voice of the snake, no, in your head. Which goes, no, no, must be something. Something must be wrong somewhere. You see, but you can't do this wrong. You see, because you are not going anywhere. This is so inherently true for all of you that it is impossible to do it wrong. You see, you could be doing it wrong if you're mistaking like a dark, empty place to be awareness. You see, you close your eyes and you see some darkness and you feel, oh, this must be awareness because it's so spacious. You see? But when I ask you, are you aware now? Are you referring to the darkness as yourself? No. You're referring to something which is not in time, it is not in space. And that is what your mind hates because your mind is not in this bus, it is not on this party. It says, prove it to me you found the truth. You see? So you say, prove it to me you found the truth. Then we will say, where is the love? Where is the peace? Where are the followers? Where are the disciples? Why aren't people queuing up to hear you speak if you are free? All this nonsense is what it will sell to you. And it'll say, you know what? What happened 1 year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago? That was really because how much love was there? How much peace was there? You see, so this is following for the mind trick. This is following for the mind trick. If you are judging yourself based on these things, you're falling for the mind trick. Because the mind cannot come to that recognition which you can come to, that you are coming to, all of you. In the simplicity of a question like, are you aware now? If you don't burden it with what should happen to me, it's just freedom is available. It's fully here. It's yours. Is it? Unless you want to make it yours. This is the conundrum. So, in the spiritual marketing, we hear about love, peace, joy being our constant state, all of that. Leave that. It is all spiritual marketing. Forget about it. See? We are here because you want the truth. And the truth is like this. It does not come and go. It does not change. It is not perceivable. It is not understandable. It is not articulatable. It's none of these things. So, and it is your very nature. That is why it is the truth. So, this is one thing. Everything else in life you may do wrong. This is very difficult to mess up. This is very difficult to mess up. When I say, are you aware now? And you instantly confirm. You see, unless you're just going to the mind and saying, yes, yes, I know the answer to this. Or you're going to perception and saying, nice, dark, empty space. You see? Unless you're doing that, it is very difficult to get this wrong. Okay? So, a simple way to say this is that if the question needs effort, you're doing it wrong. You see? If it is an effortless confirmation, you're doing it right. You can't do it wrong. If you're trying, you've gone too far. Okay. So if you notice yourself trying, am I aware? There is awareness. Why can't I find it? You see, then you're going in the wrong direction. You're looking for it as an experience, as a perception. Don't do that. It won't happen like that. You see? Then to go even further wrong is to say, okay, where are the benefits? Where are the benefits of this discovery? Where is my love? I was promised 2 kg of love if I found the truth. Where is that? Forget about all that. Forget about it. See, try to do it wrong now. Are you aware now?
Yes, I'm aware.
See, all of you. Are you aware now? Do it wrong. Like who can do it wrong? See? Now the only problem is your mind's question, so what? That's the trouble. So what? Where's my freedom? Can you forget about that? So what? Can you forget about all this but? So then neither position, that of being unenlightened nor that of being enlightened, really applies to the truth of who you are, isn't it? So let the world make those statements and claims and positions and all of that. We have nothing to do with these things. You see? That way you will not fall into any arrogance.
Yes.
And don't ever get into a place where you are judging your friends, your family, and saying how unenlightened you are. You are coming from ego. Another child was telling me this kind of stuff. You have gone so far from the truth. You see, all this. And neither you say, nor if somebody tells you, do you buy? You see? Because either way, it is nonsense. There is no thermometer, there is no checking on this. Forget about all of this stuff. All effort, all trying, all judgment, all interpretation is just conceptual. So, where does that leave you? Where does that leave us? It leaves us empty. It leaves us empty. Are you free?
Yes.
You can say like that innocently is good. But if you say, I am free, then I can smell something. You see? Just, and it's not about the saying, but you can smell the fragrance of it. So I smelled the innocence of it. So I completely accept your statement. But if I smelled something where it went like, yeah, I'm free, man. I'm just acting it out. It doesn't play that way. It may try to sound still very sweet or whatever, but you can smell it on yourself. You can just smell it on yourself. So allow yourself to be empty like this and forget about the notion of enlightenment and unenlightenment.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Auntie. Very good. Very good. Before we go to the next one. So, so if it is clear to you that you are aware, raise your hand like this. You are aware. Is it clear to you that there is no distinction between this you and aware? Who is this not clear for? That I and aware is the same? Or are they two? An I which owns aware? Is there an I like that which owns aware? No. It's clear that I and aware is the same. Okay. And when I am, it is the same awareness which is now experiencing itself as being or tasting its own being. Is it like that? Okay. That's it then. See, that's it then. Because all questions, all confusion, all suffering is what we had to the story after that. You see? I am, but but what about my human life? This is okay for spirituality, but don't I have a real life to run? Who's buying into this stuff? You're buying into this stuff? Okay, I'm coming to you. I'm coming. So, so this jugglery, who is it for? Is it for the truth? Is the truth that you are discovering just for satsang? Like this is the truth for satsang, and there's a truth for the real world, so-called real world, the practical world. Or is this the truth, full stop? This is worth contemplating. Because somewhere there may be an idea, like Shraddha and I were discussing last time, somewhere there may be an idea that I have to juggle both aspects of myself. See, I have to juggle both aspects of myself. I have to get 100 marks in my spiritual aspect, and I have to get 100 marks in my practical aspect. You see? Now, what is the substratum for all practicality? Your breath has to happen, your heartbeat has to function. You see, all these, without that, you can't be practical much, no? Maybe for a few seconds. You see, now, how are you being practical where these things are concerned? You see, I'll tell you something else. No scientist has figured out, and I'm open to be corrected if this is wrong. I heard this from a credible source. No scientist has figured out what keeps the atoms of this body together. You see, what makes it one seeming unit. You see, so there is a force which is keeping all these atoms and molecules together, apparently. And this is speaking in a worldly way. You see? Now, that is the most practical thing. If that force stopped working, then this body that we want to be excel at practicality would not have any function. So all of this stuff is happening anyway. You see, all of this stuff is happening anyway. Now, on top of that, you say, but practically, I need to decide what to do next. You see, practically, I need to decide what to do next, and for that, I need to use my mind. You see, but the mind is the most hopeless instrument to use for this. One, it can't decide anything at all. It just offers up concept after concept after concept. Consciousness itself zeroes in onto them. You see? The second thing is that the mind doesn't know how to do. You see? It doesn't know how to speak. My mind doesn't know how these words are coming out. Your mind doesn't know how the listening is happening. You see? Your mind doesn't know, my mind doesn't know how to move a finger. Tell me if anybody's mind knows. You may have concepts about it. You may have ideas about brain chemistry and brain physics and all of that. But can you fire any of that? Like I keep saying, can you fire a neuron? Is it, can your mind tell me how to fire one neuron, two neurons? Nobody can tell us. So what is practicality that we are doing? We can't decide. You see, the right choice may not come up in the mind at all. So what is all this decision making about? You see? Then consciousness may not choose to give the right choice belief. You see? May choose to go with the wrong concept. So this guy in the middle, which is neither consciousness nor the mind, you see, how is that going to play a part in this? You see? So this practical life, you see, in whose light is it shining? It's shining in your being, in the light of your being, on the screen of your being. These are not just words. You see? So in the light of your being, all of this beautiful, intricate play is being played out. You see? So the notion of a non-existent one coming in the middle and running a practical life is completely fraudulent. You see? So either consciousness is running or the practical one is running. Now, can you find this practical one? Where is it that he should run your life? If it is the mind doesn't know decision making or action. You see, choices or action are out of the scope of the mind. So who is this great practical one? And why is it that we believe that consciousness as this pure being cannot run a practical life when it can run so much? You see, so isn't it just a mind subtle attempt to make these categories of spirituality and practicality and get us involved in that kind of play and say, yeah, look at the mastery, of even the trickery, let's not call it mastery, the trickery of the mind, because you are discovering something so immense about yourself that even the universes wake up within you. This is what you're discovering within yourself, that the entire universe wakes up within you. You're discovering this. But what does the mind come and say? Yes, all this is okay for satsang. All this is okay for satsang. But what about your real life? Come on. Can you see the nonsense? And then we say, yes, this is good. Thank you, Mr. Mind. This is good. I needed that because I was becoming too spiritual. You see, I was becoming too spiritual. So now I need to do the process of integration. So I, the non-existent one, will now integrate God and the world. And the running of this body mind's life in the world, I will integrate. Who are you? Who are you? Don't exist. Because I must be God plus something. No? Like God is running, that is not enough. I must be something extra God, like extra to God. Which is going to say, discovering God in satsang, that is fine. But that one can't run the life of the body mind in this world. That's where I come in. Who is that I? Has anybody ever found this one? So the non-existent one should run the practical life. The pure absurdity. Pure absurdity. Please rid yourself of this nonsense. See, it is just mind survival tactics. Then we say, I want this complete dissolution of the mind. Till then, I'm not free. Mano Nasha. Bhagwan had said Mano Nasha. Only after Mano Nasha am I free. You see? But then we ourselves believe in the categorization coming from the mind. So how will it happen? So for the practical life, I need to do this, I need to do who? That's where you started, by the way. Hey, so are you seeing the trickery in this? You started with the question, who am I? And you found who you are, which is beyond this universe. And then the mind again sells you the story, but that is just, oh, in satsang, you are that. In the real life or practical life, you are still this one. Don't go too far. And we go back to the same delusion, the same misidentification. Because now we want to be Superman or Superwoman, and we'll integrate all this. You see, not only will we integrate, we'll also embody God in one body. You see, how God will become so tiny that we will embody, like everywhere we go, we'll just be like God. How will we embody God? And is God doing a bad job of embodying? Is there need for this service? Have we asked, like, we're starting this whole new service, is there need? Is God messing up? You see, who's running this body? We have seen everything in the body is run by God already. So nobody should make these stupid mental categorizations. See? Because you've earned your freedom. You have been to enough satsangs, you have done enough inquiry, you earned your freedom. Now don't fall for this simple April Fool's Day trick and say, yes, yes, very good, good job. And now what about embodying? You forgot about that. Look, your teeth are not shiny enough. Your eyes are not transmitting enough. What do you want? I mean, what embodiment do we want? How will this body represent God? Isn't the universe already representing everything to represent? So stop this rubbish kind of like emotional attachment to the body, trying to be some great thing. Who can juggle all this? That one has to exist firstly. And then Advaita is there are no two. So if there's only God, then who is going to juggle God and the world? Have I ranted enough about this? Rest in God. Rest in God. No, nothing to worry. Nothing to worry. This may sound like it is advanced spirituality or something. No? That when we try to do these things, it may seem like, wow, I've come so far. You see? But actually, it is still a sign of fear. Still a sign of fear that you don't want your world collapsing or your so-called practical world or real world collapsing. What's the worst that can happen? If you let go of your so-called practical life, what is the worst that can happen? That much you, the non-existent one, cannot do that your heartbeat will stop in your letting go. You see, breathing will also continue unless you learn some super advanced yoga or something. That will also go on. What is going to go so wrong? Relationships may fail. They failed in the past many times. You try to manage. Nothing so great that you're doing. What else? You may not make enough money you haven't made already. Try it this way. Nothing so much is going to happen. Can we all spot the mind trick in this? Can we spot the mind trick in this? Sorry, I'm sounding like a class teacher today, but I have to, I have to express the way it comes. You can spot it or no? Because it's a very, very popular notion. That now all of this is done, my spiritual search is over. Now I need to manage both. I need to create the perfect painting of my life. I'm just going to mess it up like that. The painting is already perfect. It's already perfect. Enjoy the perfection every moment. You can see, you can see, you can hear, you can smell, you can taste, you can touch, and you are aware of all of these perceptions. A great light is shining in your heart. The light of God itself is shining in your heart. Meet all of this instead of projecting into some future and saying, this is what I have to do. God is shining in your heart as your very presence. Your presence is the presence of the highest being. And this being is directing and acting in this movie perfectly. Perfectly. Stop buying into these lies. Stop buying into these lies. Anything that tells you that you have to take yourself to be what you are not. You see, don't trust that voice, whatever reasoning it may give you. You have to pretend to be something that you're not. See? And again, I'm not talking about the expression of this body. That can play however it has to play, and the intelligence can run the life of that body. There is no trouble in that. But if you have to truly believe yourself to be something that you are not, see, then that is the trickster voice, that is the snake's voice. And the snake is not your pet, not yet. Okay, let's go to Claudia.
Hello, Father.
Oh, my dear.
I'm a little bit embarrassed now.
I can understand that.
Because I should have lowered my hand after what you said now.
Okay.
There's nothing to say. Yes, but the question was about intuition we spoke about last time. And in this week, I realized that I have to give up all and to surrender because I did all not to get a flu with this December weather in Italy, and now I'm 3 days in bed. And there were, yes, but there, that was the question. Maybe I feel it as intuition, deep knowing, and it's not a sensation, not a feeling that all runs like God wants, and
Yes.
even things that don't run well, even taking a phone or writing a message or in every move, it's consciousness doing. It's and this was my question: was this now a spiritual marketing again of my mind, or was it the really knowing? And then it came up after what you spoke now. If it is really knowing, you don't have to ask, because I feel that maybe I'm just coming up as like a child now and wanting to be hugged by you and to hear you are doing well.
That's very sweet. I love that. I love that innocence. I love that honest integrity. So
Yes.
big hug, and you're doing very well. You're doing very well. Okay. In fact, even before you said that, I was just hearing the words, and the fragrance is very good. I'm very happy. Very happy. So just trust your heart, trust your intuition as you have been doing. Sometimes the mind will doubt and say, "How do you know that this is really intuition?" You see? So intuition you can actually smell, and I've given you enough tips to distinguish between the mind and intuition. The mind is grasping, the mind wants particular outcomes. You see, the mind is in a rush. Says, now, I want now, like that. Give me this. You see? It's always projecting in past and future. Intuition is completely different in its fragrance. It's just no rush. The presence of peace is palpable in your intuition. And it's just natural, it is apparent. And you will notice that it is the intelligence which is available without having to work in the head. See? Your intuition is the intelligence which is available without any mental hard work needed, mental effort needed. So that's another tip for all of you. So if you have the notion that I have to work hard in my intuition, or I have to work at all in my intuition, then that is not the intuition. See? So, and what can be confusing for the mind is many times intuition is silent. And that is why I'm telling you to trust that silence also.
Yes, and that's why I had to. Yeah, yes, you see, there's immediately the fear of mind coming back to fall in old habits and to interpretate. So that's why now you had to be 3 days in bed to stay in silence. And yes, may I give to you this fear of going back in these explications.
Very good. Great music to my ears to hear your words today. Very nice. One tip I'll give you and to all of you. Don't worry about what is why. You know, what is the reason behind anything? What is the cause behind anything? Why does something happen? Don't worry about that.
I know it is an old habit,
Yeah.
but it pops up. I can observe it, but and then there is this fire.
It's just good to shine your light on this. You see, it's good
Yes,
to shine your light on this, and this is noticing is enough. You don't have to feel guilty or anything. It is fine. It is completely fine. Just to notice is good, and that is why we often say Guru Kripa Kevalam. So that is the antidote for reasoning, to find reason for why everything happens. You see? So why does anything happen? Master's grace. Or why does anything happen? Consciousness. You see, why is the world like this? Consciousness. So everything why? Consciousness. Everything who is worth discovering. Everything who is worth discovering. Everything why is worth surrendering. Then we don't have to conceptualize at all. We don't have to use our intellect at all. Say why like this, why did this happen? It's okay. Conversationally, we can say yes, it's very good. It happened because I needed the rest, or I needed the time of contemplation. That's all right. These things are fine, as long as we are not taking that reasoning too seriously.
no, it makes no sense. It's in the same moment I have to laugh about.
Yeah.
but there is this fear to fall back in old habits.
Can we all lead our life without knowing why for anything? Why is there a pain in my foot? I don't. Consciousness. Why is the world so unfair? Consciousness. Why is everything consciousness? Internally. I keep reminding everyone I'm speaking of your inward position. Outwardly, you may be an activist. Outwardly, you may be fighting a war. Outwardly, all those things may be happening. It's fine. But inwardly, we are not plagued by this constant rationalization, reasoning. Because then we try to make sense of the world. We try to make sense of the world, but our sense is too small and the world is too big. If our sense means our intellect, then our sense is too small and the world is too big for us to be able to rationalize the world. We cannot rationalize one moment of the world. Like that. Live like a plant inwardly.
Yes.
Live like a plant inwardly if plants don't do this stuff. Okay, I don't know. I haven't spoken, I haven't spoken to a plant lately, but my feeling is they're quite peaceful inwardly. How does a plant run their practical life? Plant
Yes,
is
I asked them here because I'm very in nature and very alone here. I asked them, they don't give me answer. They just
they're too much in peace to give any answer.
yes.
So,
I asked, is it raining? Why is it cold? I can't, they don't give me an answer. It's like that, and I accept.
that's very good. That is the same as to trust the silence of intuition. That's
Yes.
very good. You see, but if plants don't have these categories that I have this time where I'm completely at peace, you see, completely silent. But then there are other times where I have to grow branches and I have to grow flowers and I have to grow fruits. God can't do that for me. So how do I do it? It may sound absurd to you what I'm saying, but the human attempt to do the same thing is as absurd because there's no tool, there's no mechanism. In fact, that one doesn't exist. So the one that runs the practical life of plants and animals can also run the practical life of this one without us needing to understand why. Such a joy.
Thank you so much.
Very good. And may the body feel better soon. All my love. All
Yeah. Thank you.
I live like a plant outwardly. Sorry, inwardly. I confuse everyone enough, including myself. Okay, let's go to Paula.
Hello, Father.
Yeah.
Mm,
How would it look
Thank
like
you
to
so
live like
much.
a plant outwardly?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, I'm just imagining if I just left it and live like a plant outwardly, then everybody would be. That may work also. Yes, yes.
Um, I'm a bit like Claudia in the beginning, just feeling after listening to you and just being so clear about uh, your words. Um, and but I know there's something that I want to share with you. Mm, is that it seems like a romantic relationship. It's being born.
Just when. Ah.
Yes, and I'm just allowing it and enjoying it, and I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't know, and um,
It's good. It's good.
but there's also some Guruji's words are very present lately, and it's about this now that sometimes relationships come like a way of distracting us or something, and I have that very present because it could be the most beautiful relationship in the world, but I don't want to exchange for anything in this world my love for truth, and I don't know what could happen, and I just feel that I only come to you, and just knowing that I'm with you, and put this at your feet, and don't allow it, please don't allow that anything.
Yes. Actually, God has no trouble running any relationship. It is when we come into the picture as the ego wanting to participate in that play, that is where the trouble comes. No? So you deepen your relationship with God and let God handle the relationship. Okay? Nothing is good or bad in itself. It is very true that sometimes it can be a distraction. Sometimes it can be, if you're together in some way in the heart and there's openness, there could be a deepening also. So don't have to judge yourself too harshly on these things. Both possibilities can play out. But the way for it not to get distracting is that you don't distract from your being, from yourself in your heart, and let your divine intelligence take care of this relationship, however it is meant to be taken care of.
Yes, that's what has been in my heart, because I feel very open to it, and but yes, maybe it's because past experiences or a lot of suffering for this, a lot in the past.
Well, I have to say that some suffering is inherent in all relationships. Okay? So don't judge yourself too harshly when even that comes.
Yeah.
Okay, it's part of the masala, the spices of life, of this kind of thing happens in relationships. It's okay. Maybe right
Yeah,
now,
it has to do.
very nascent, very early stage, so that may not apply. But some friction is a part of relationships. It's fine.
Yes, I feel it's more that the attachment, not the suffering, but the attachment to it, and the confusion about happiness or completeness or something.
Yes.
But yeah.
So this nonsense we can drop in the sense that, like, where can happiness come from? Can the label,
From God.
I'm in a relationship with that boy, can that label make some window to happiness? Coming
No.
from the connection like that. This is what the mind's idea of relationships. I label and say, okay, this is the relationship. And then from there, something is coming to me. Happiness is coming. And my job is to give happiness that way. But can it ever be like that? It can't. Is it? That is just the conceptual idea of a relationship. Happiness must be here from within, not within the body, but from within. So that is very important. And secondly, it is the what is the second point which you said? Attachment.
Attachment. That it's linked with the same, no? It's attachment because happiness is coming from there, and so I cannot let it go or something. But I'm not feeling that right now. I really don't feel. But somehow I just don't know. I feel the potential to grow that inside. It is there. no, I don't know if it's there or not. I really don't know, but maybe it's kind of fear. Maybe it's fear that it's
Okay.
pulling me to come to you and say this. I don't know.
Attachment, some suffering, all this little will be, it's inherent in most relationships. So don't try to have a very super special relationship where none of this happens, or don't don't put your relationship under too much spiritual pressure. Just you be open and empty as much as possible, and allow it to unfold. And in the moments there will be some identification, some things will happen like that. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. And now just to also share with you that I'm very, very happy. I'm experiencing life in a way that it's completely new, and it's so much I don't know, it's magic. It's like the word that comes is like it's so because of you, and it's Satsang, and I'm very grateful, very, very grateful. Thank you, Father.
Let's go to Kim.
Hello, Namaste, Ananta-Ji.
Namaste.
Thank you for the chance to talk to you.
Very well. Very well.
I'm not sure what I will say, because since I raised my hand some minutes ago, I had 3 or 4 questions, which all of them I stopped liking.
Aha, good.
Because I think they are too specific, maybe, and I see more potential in them not being there, and just. But then I don't know what should come. But I also heard you say a lot of times you also don't know what comes out of your mouth when you talk. So this I also don't know. Thank you already for that I may do this, that my mouth now is allowed to make these sounds in this environment without me knowing if even knowing if there will come out something appropriate or not, or making sense or being interesting, or yeah.
That's beautiful. I love that. I love what you just said. And just allowing this mouth to move and not pressurizing yourself to make sense or sound rational or make use of time or any of that stuff. And you sounded fine. And even if you didn't sound fine, that'd be okay too. It's completely fine.
And thank you. And now, if I can speak from what I experience now, I very much experience great joy and love in this. And also it feels like the state that my mind feels and thinks of, that this is the state in which my life wouldn't work out, or at least my plans wouldn't come true, or something like this. Like,
yes,
but I can, yeah.
Yes, the mind will throw these fears at you.
Yeah.
The mind will throw these fears at you. But you've noticed also that you're not experiencing a lack of intelligence. You see? You're not experiencing a lack of intelligence. In fact, you may be experiencing in your openness influx of intelligence.
I think maybe if I would watch, I can see I can form sentences now, and if I would watch it later, I would see, okay, it might make some sense, but from within, it actually, I must disagree. It really feels like I don't feel this word mathematical intelligence right now. I think I feel like drunk a little bit.
This is it. This is what I'm calling intelligence. You see? In that openness to allow it to unfold, and the mind's ideas, but you could be talking complete gibberish and you won't make any sense, but you're sounding so good. There's no trouble. You see? So just letting go of this pressure, because the mind in any way, the non-existent identity can't do any of this. Like I said, it doesn't know how to move a finger. So anyway, all of this been happening in the light of your own being, in the light of your own consciousness. You see? So you're getting a taste of how it is that satsang is shared. Just like that, the mouth starts moving or it doesn't, words come out. There's no reason to worry or be concerned or to say, oh, now I hope it's not like this, I hope it's not like that. It can happen naturally. Like initially when I started sharing, like my mind would come and say, but what are you going to share today? You're done with all the good stuff. Now you're only going to share rubbish. Like after a few days of my sharing, it was like that. You're done. All your stuff is done. Now don't share. But it's been 10 years since then, and this mouth has been moving. If you don't have expectations of what should come out, sometimes what comes out may surprise you very beautifully.
Such a state of happiness feels like a burning bomb that I would be if I walked through my daily life.
Yeah.
This happy, then I would disturb it in a good way, though. But I would disturb. But it would be, yeah.
This is the disturbance the world needs.
Yeah.
Please disturb it in this way.
Yeah.
It's very good. This is it. This is the open and empty. To allow it to unfold. To not resist. It's very good.
Now there comes the thought that, oh yes, be courageous and keep it, be like this. But this cannot make sense, right? Because I cannot keep, I know for sure that this is a phenomenal emotion that is probably, I feel and know it to be not, I wanted to say it's closer to the truth than suffering. But this also doesn't make sense. I also cannot say that happiness can be closer to truth than suffering is, right?
Very good. Very good.
Okay, thank you.
So happy to hear this. Beautiful.
Very happy.
Very good. See the simplicity of it? It's just letting go. The mouth has to move, the mouth has to move. Doesn't have to move, doesn't have to move. Oh, good. And the same for everything else. Very good. Okay, let's go to Aniko.
Thank you, Ananta-ji.
Thank you, my dear.
As you were speaking in the Satsang, I always wanted to say something, so many things. And actually, at the moment, I don't really know what to choose what is the most important. But
just try it like Kim tried.
Sorry, but I was so much in my mind what to say. I couldn't hear too much. Sorry.
He just allowed it to move on its own. Allowed the mouth to move on its own.
Okay.
If it had to.
Okay. It is about a desire in my heart to be close to you or to Guruji, like physically, because of the habit of the mind is very strong and what I feel. And also I had a dream, and for me it was like an intuitive insight, and it was about I had a garden with a lots of seed in the soil, and the birds was always coming and they was picking it up, and I was so sad to see. And just the next day in the invitation room, Guruji was speaking about Jesus, and the first soil is not able to get the roots, and this is how I feel.
First, can you say that part again? After the first, what happened?
After the
Guruji was sharing the invitation.
Guruji said the example about Jesus when he wanted to plant the seeds, and there was three different kind of solid, and the first one is the worst one who can't even take their seats because their bird is coming and immediately take it.
Yeah.
And it was my dream just before this sharing satsang, and actually, yeah, and this is how I feel as well. Then probably I need more help, because whenever you speak to me and you ask, for example, are you aware? Are you awareness even? And straight I say from somewhere, but after I just thinking where this answer was coming from. I don't even understand. I can't repeat it at the same way, and it is something like this. Then
Yeah.
I'm just wasting my time alone, because I need some, as you, Guruji, be close to me and remind me every day, every minute, what is true and what is not true, who I am, and because I cannot change the solid. So yeah, something like this.
Okay. There are many things to speak about this. Let's see how it starts. So, as far as reminders are concerned, there are plenty. There are plenty. There are plenty of recordings. There are plenty of satsangs. So many thousands Guruji satsangs, many thousands satsangs recorded here also. So the reminders are always available. And really, I've just been pointing to this for the last 10 years. So it doesn't matter which one you open, it should be pretty much the same pointers which you find when you're speaking like this should be available there. So reminders is not any trouble. The mind creates doubt, like we've been talking about this topic. You picked on it perfectly. So when I ask you, are you aware now? How does the confirmation happen? The mind cannot confirm how the confirmation happens because it is not participating in that insight. So, can you accept firstly that your mind will not be able to participate in true insight?
Yes.
But you will. You will.
Yes. Yes. Yes, but
Uh,
also, sorry.
let's try it live. So, when you ask, am I aware now? What can you confirm?
It is just so naturally known, then I am aware, and yeah.
Now, if you are aware, are you saying your awareness? Is that what you mean?
And that was the second things I wanted to ask.
So, are you awareness? Is the second question. It's the same question actually, but are you awareness?
Because the mind wants to grab it so much now and understand the difference, and I don't know now how to let it go and just listen the question with the heart.
What is the
And this
difference
is
between the two questions? Am I aware and am I awareness?
because if I say I am aware, then there is a I who is aware. But when I say I am awareness, then there is only awareness and there is no I.
Yes, yes. So you are aware of the perception of this hand.
Yes,
Now that which is aware of the perception of this hand,
yes,
besides awareness, what quality does it have?
nothing. No inequality. Yeah,
And you are aware. No?
yeah,
Are you sure?
yeah. Yes, yes.
It's not Madalena who's aware of the perception of this hand. It's you.
Probably she is aware as well.
That's a probability. We can never answer that. We can only speculate about that. But right now, what can you confirm?
Yes, obviously, yeah. I am aware of the
Now,
hand.
this I that is aware, can
Yeah.
that be seen? Can it be perceived?
It's just known.
Known means what?
it is just like cannot be else. Like, yeah,
Cannot be what?
it cannot be a doubt or
Cannot be
denied.
or argued. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So known is a confusing word. No? So known can seem like it's like a knowing, conceptual knowing. Is that the type of knowing you're talking about?
No, it doesn't need any concept. It is just, yeah.
I've been using the word intuit. Intuit. We intuit that we are aware, or I intuit that I am aware. Just to make the distinction between known. See, because many times people, when they hear I know I am aware, many masters have said you cannot know you are aware, but they are talking about conceptual know. You cannot know in your head. So intuitively, it is clear that you are aware. Now, intuitively, from the same place, what is it besides awareness that you could be?
This body.
You could be this body intuitively.
Intuitively, I cannot say anything what I could be or could not be, because I cannot grab anything if I don't use my mind. I
Yeah.
can.
So what you're saying is that there is silence. There is silence in the intuition. It is not telling you an answer.
No.
So trust that silence. That silence itself is the answer.
Yes, and sometimes come whatever you said now, it is so much about me, because sometimes when I just said, okay, I am aware, yes, and there is a silence, and immediately there is a lack of that, okay, is not enough. So something is lacking so much, and
You cannot make your mind and intuition dance together in the same dance. The mind wants an invitation to this party, but we can't give it to it.
Mm. I feel I just feel that mind always want to make me sad or something with this kind of concepts. And yeah, and I believe it. I still believe them. Yeah, yeah.
The mind have this kind of power. Can it get your belief without your permission? To make you suffer or to make you sad, whatever you say. You see? It needs belief, isn't it? Like just the mind, thoughts appearing and disappearing cannot have that effect in the human condition. The effect is only after belief goes to it. And whose power is belief? Who has the power to believe? I will propose to you that it is consciousness. It is consciousness that has this power. And I have not met a consciousness which can be forced by the strongest thought. So, unless this consciousness is playing as if it is interested, that as if it wants to nurture that belief system further, it wants to give meaning to those things. Unless it is you, your being, your consciousness, you see, which gives validity to these notions, the mind cannot force itself on you. You are consciousness. So, can you check this for me yourself? Allow the strongest thought, the scariest thought to come, and see if your being can be forced into believing that thought.
My being, when you say my being, do you mean this silence? Do you mean
The existent entity, what exists right now? We say, I am. Who is existing right now? Can that being be forced into a belief system, into a suffering that it doesn't want?
is nothing happening in this silence? No. Just when the believing is happening, is also not me who is believing or not believing. It is just
Someone else believes and it becomes your belief. Is it like that?
no. It is just the I created. There is a I created from this nothing.
Created. What do you mean? Created?
Created by the nothing.
Shall we start fresh? Because I'm completely lost, right?
I don't know who is decide things. Who decide?
Who?
Whose decision to believe or not to believe?
Who's this? Okay.
Yeah.
So, but that you are aware is clear?
Yes.
Now, in this awareness, is there a sense of presence? Is there a sense of being?
Yes.
So we have said often, can you stop being? Can you stop being? And you notice that there's a presence which is not stoppable. It is just here. Are the two questions the same? Am I aware now and can I stop being?
I feel if I wouldn't have this body, I wouldn't know if there is this presence or not. Because I feel that presence in the body.
So we have too many variables at this point. So shall we just start fresh? Let's start fresh. Empty. Let's start empty. Now, tell me, what is your experience, without describing it? Like, what are you perceiving without putting it into any narrative, as little narrative as possible?
I'm perceiving the sensation of the body, and I'm perceiving whatever I see now,
Yes.
whatever I hear.
Yes. Is there any trouble anywhere?
With perceiving is no trouble. No.
Perceiving is no trouble.
No.
It is clear to you that you are perceiving, that you are aware of these perceptions?
Yes.
So anything forces you out of this, let's call it pure perception. Anything forces you out of this, if there is no trouble like this.
There's no trouble like this.
Then why?
And still, yeah.
Can something force you out of this pure perception?
Some fear forced me out.
Okay.
Some fear then is not complete or something like this. Something is not complete, and I will never reach this completeness.
Come back to just describing what your experience is. Don't explain what it means.
Describing this fear.
Yes.
Don't explain with the mind. It is, if I just explain
what it means, that it'll stop me, it'll do this.
Okay.
Don't put all these explanations, just your direct experience.
Direct experience is something around my heart is like a tightness, and is like breathe is like not deep, like some kind of some panicking or something like this.
Yes, yes, yes. Very good. So stay like this. Stay like this.
Yes.
Sounds good, Leslie.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
The mind creates these mazes where you enter them and there's seems like there's no way out. Sometimes you just have to reset, start over, drop all the stories, start over, push. Just remain in your pure perception. In your pure perception, what you are is apparent to you. That's the beauty of this. What you are is not lost to you, unless it seems to get lost when we put that into a conceptual narrative, into a storification. But otherwise, it's just apparent. You see, does anyone ever feel that it's just perception? See? Just check on this for us. In your pure perception, does it just feel like there's only this side of it, like just the perception side of it? The witnessing side of it is absent. Does it feel like that? The witnessing is apparent. You see? But the minute you try to insert it into the narrative, you see, insert it into the story, because you can't insert the witnessing into the story. What will you say? I woke up this morning, I had waffles for breakfast, and then, the witnessing was there, and then um, um, nothing ever happened to it. You see, well, I mean, it's impossible to put. It can be very convoluted, like the witnessing manifested itself as consciousness, then consciousness in its aspect had centrality with this body, so then it is experienced like that. But that would be a very different sounding story from the one that woke up and had waffles for breakfast. So this is the thing. Because the truth is so simple and apparent, and yet completely impossible for the mind to get a handle on. And therefore the mind loses the ability to put it into a story. The same thing also works in reverse. When we drop the story, what we are is fully apparent to us. Very good.
Thank you so much.
Okay, I'll go to Amba because she hasn't come up for a bit. We did have a long conversation recently, not in Satsang. Hello.
Thank you. I think I don't really know exactly why I put my hand up, but everything that Kim was saying earlier, like he just wanted to present himself and he doesn't know what's going to happen. They felt like my words as well. But one thing was, well, just I'm so grateful to be here in Satsang with you today because I don't often get the opportunity to be here. And so I feel just like something wanted to speak with you in Satsang.
So wonderful. So happy to see you here. I've seen you once in a while at the beginning at least, and then I feel like you have some okay, it's sounding like some discourse.
I got the opportunity to... Sorry,
Is it
my
my
internet connection is not very good. Can you hear me? It's my internet connection. Yeah. Sorry, can you hear me?
I can hear you now pretty well. How about you?
Yeah, it's good. Sorry.
I was saying that I notice you once in a while at the beginning, and then you have some chores or errands to run probably, and that's why you're not able to stay. But it's such a joy.
Exactly. Yeah, I just get like 10 minutes.
So yes. It was fun. It was fun. A lot of fun to have that. Have all of you heard the podcast also that Amba has recorded, and we had some fun that day. Speaking about some of the themes, and actually those themes have sort of continued in the satsangs also. I noticed, like I feel like something is focusing on similar themes that we captured in the podcast. Actually, we spoke about almost everything there, but just the direction of the conversation sounds very familiar. Since then, the theme seems very familiar as well. So,
So just when you were talking about like the idea of embody, and how it's
we lost her. We'll give it a few seconds to see if she comes. She's in.
I'm so sorry. I don't know why my internet connection is so bad today. Sorry.
Sometimes
if it goes off,
watching in the gallery view, because sometimes if all the videos are coming on the same thing, then that could also be too much thing.
Yeah.
You can go to speaker view. That should help.
Okay. Yeah. So when I came on to Satsang today, you were talking about the idea of embody and how kind of ridiculous it is. And in one sense, like, yeah, I can totally agree. It's like, yeah, it's totally ridiculous, of course. Like everything is God, everything is consciousness. But I have to say that, like, I do see myself getting kind of pulled in certain aspects to that type of idea. And then I can also totally see through it as well at different moments. And so I was talking to somebody recently on a podcast as well, and they were kind of talking about, that we see these people in the world, that seem to be like, let's say, expressing quite highly. Like it seems like they don't have much human stories of suffering or something like that. They kind of shine consciousness out of their human expression. And then afterwards, or not even afterwards, really right during it, I just felt like it's a total trick of just like all the tricks in the world to pull us in, because it's like, okay, so one person over there looks like is shining loads of love, and one person over there is kind of curling up in a cave or something. But it's like a total trick because it's like you say, it's the human expression, it's the story or something, and it's like or like the intuition or what I am is not that, and it's never going to be that. So it really doesn't matter. Like it's almost like all these levels of what a human can be, and because we can see like this, like that one human is here, and then the next year they're here, or something. Like, let's say they're shining more love, and in 10 years' time, they're shining even more love. So it kind of can give that impression, you know, that there's an evolving of like moving towards like expressing more love or something, you know. So I feel like I can kind of get pulled into that story in a certain way because I have the I guess, like, I think light or something, or like awareness or awakeness wants to look towards darkness. And the longer I'm in satsang, like, I'm kind of feeling like there's so much like darkness in my being, you know, but like there's more, like, I suppose, like at different moments there's distance between it, like just like complete detachment, like really, I don't really know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But like really, like it really doesn't matter. I suppose I'm just kind of confirming and affirming really to myself that it really doesn't matter what happens within a human life. Like, it doesn't matter if Amber stays completely stuck, or anybody stays completely stuck in like conditioning stories, or if light is shone upon it and it dissolves or it doesn't dissolve. It really, really doesn't matter to the truth of who I am, and that's kind of the most important thing. But then that's one aspect of what I wanted to say. And then the other aspect, which you've also been saying as well, is, I guess, just noticing that I don't know what the word is, but the difference between the mind and all the things that the mind can say and the heart, let's say. And you know, there's that kind of idea as well, and I've heard Muji also saying it, and it stuck with me. He says, or he has said something like this, that when the mind and the heart are in harmony, you're free. You know, and we can kind of see this, like, even in our being, that our mind does in certain ways come into harmony with your mind. Like, even when you can express from your heart in a way, it kind of feels like it's coming into harmony, and you can think kind of thoughts that are in alignment with love or truth, or your thoughts can be like forgiving, you know what I mean? Like, but also there's aspects of the mind that are completely kind of confused or in darkness or something like that. So it's like the heart is completely free, like, or completely I don't know, it's like,
I can jump in a little bit here. So this is
yeah, please do.
Thank you for sharing. It's like I was sharing the story. I don't remember whether it was on the broadcast or just when we were meeting in the Kendra here. My brother, when he was younger, he would share a lot of stories. Like, he would say, I met, there was a famous cricketer in India called Kapil Dev. So he said, oh, I went out of the house and I met Kapil Dev, and then he threw a ball at me and I hit it for a six, and, you know, all of these kind of things. And then I mean, when you're younger than 3 years, age difference makes a lot of difference. So I would just like smile and nod, and it was not that I was in opposition to what he was saying, and there was so much love that I was accepting. I was accepting everything that he would say, but I would not take it to be the truth. You see, so you can be in harmony with what is being said, but it doesn't mean that you have to confirm that its limited ideas about who you are have to be taken to be true. So this is a distinction which is important. So the heart actually is never in opposition to anything that shows up in the world, although outwardly it may seem like, you know, there's a strong opposition and leave the mind, all this thing. But really in the heart it is not in opposition to any of that. But being in harmony with it does not imply that you take its utterances or ramblings to be representative of reality. So to recognize that it is a limited instrument with only so much capability and scope, and not able to decipher even a moment in reality. Like right now, the mind cannot answer what this is, even a moment of what this is, even the manifest aspect of what this is. You see, if we say that, okay, Mr. Mind or Miss Mind, you just define this much, which is what is this right now. It will not be able to define it because, and the way to test that is that everybody will have a different idea about what this is. So it is impossible to glean the truth out of it. But to accept that it is an instrument which is limited in this nature, that doesn't mean you go to war with it and you don't accept that it is an aspect of consciousness. You accept it, but you don't take, if it is telling you that you are a snail or you're a rabbit or whatever, you will not take it to be true. In the same way, when it is saying that you are this entity which somehow is an owner of this body in some way, you see, it is not even clear about what that definition of me is. You see, sometimes when put in a spot, it says, no, but I'm just saying you are this body. But if you look at its goals, it has nothing to do with the body. You see, what it wants to do, what it wants to gain, fame and money and all of that, the body is not concerned with at all. So although it uses the body as a pivot, like as a central pivot to its ability to identify, it is not really setting goals which are body oriented. Most of the goals are about this entity which nobody can find. And having thoroughly investigated that and seen that there is nobody like that, then to go to its words and take those to be a truth about yourself, that would be a disservice to yourself. You see? In the overall play, of course. So that would be a disservice that you don't have to do. You can allow it to speak, you can allow it to come and go, but you can rely on your own insight about what you are more than you rely on what the words that are being represented coming from the mind are saying about what you are. Just in the same way that you would not limit yourself to just what your sight is saying about you. You see? If you limited yourself to just sight and not count hearing, not count taste, not count touch, not count any of the other ways to perceive, then that would be a limitation, and that is too small for even your manifest reality. In the same way, just to take the mind's words to be true about who, I lost her, but I'll continue talking, to take the mind's representation of who you really are is too limiting. You see? So if you don't have a problem with this saying, okay, of course, there is more to my perception than sight. There is more to my perception and my being than just hearing or any one of the senses. Then there is no reason why we must be so much in opposition to just recognizing this, that there is more to my existence and my reality than just what my mind is proposing. You see? So if the mind is limited in that sense, just like one of the senses, then what can we go to? Who can we rely on for the truth? You see? So if it is limited based on our direct insight, and we can see that I'm clearly beyond what the mind is representing, then what is it, if it offers for my limited representation mostly just lead to suffering and trouble, you see, if I buy into them, then if I let go of the belief in the mind, then is there something else that I can rely on to tell me the truth about myself or insight of the truth about myself? See? And that is what your intuition is, what is your Atma Gyan or Atma Darshan, which is available. And it is completely apparent when we are not taking ourselves to be limited based on that limited representation. Your broadness, your vastness is completely apparent to you. Even one who has come, even one who hates the notion of satsang, doesn't believe in guru and none of that, can meet this pointing and they can see, yes, you see, I don't seem to be only as limited as the body-mind organism which the mind proposes me to be. So then the question is, do I need to harmonize the painting which the mind is painting about myself and the insight that I'm having about myself? Do I need to harmonize these two things? So that again, intuitively looking, there is no disharmony because it is recognized as a painting, it is recognized as a storybook. So then I don't have to sort of insert my identity in that and try to squeeze find out how my godliness or my consciousness squeezes into that storybook narrative, because it's in your consciousness, your being is completely in harmony with the storybook narrative. It is not in opposition to it. You see? So mostly it is the mind which takes on the attempt to say, yes, now we have made this discovery of this broadness, of this vastness. Now, how can I apply it to my narrative? How can I apply it to this narrative? How can I use it through that? So, and in its attempts, I have not seen a successful attempt to insert this discovery which you and I are making into this narrative of the mind, because it seems too limited and it seems too much hard work to try and do that and say, okay, actually I am this body mind somewhere, so how can I make sure that I'm not forgetting my godlike nature? So, or those kind of juggling sort of attempts. You see? Whereas, what is the trouble in seeing yourself in the reality of your being, in the reality of that which is aware of your being? Don't we all find a naturalness, a harmony in our day-to-day expressions as well? There is just a natural. It's like the meal is already cooked. Why God is already cooking the meal? Then what attempt, what effort is required on top of that for us to make it like super tasty? You see? Isn't that just like a fallacious attempt? And what tools do we have available at our disposal to do that? See? Except our conceptual ideas of what is true or not. There's no actual tool that the mind has, or that non-existent person has, to try and reconcile itself with the heart or something like that. The heart is already reconciled. That in some ways what I've been trying to express. Of course, it's not easy to express.
I feel like there's something else that's going to be said, but I don't know what it is.
You can take your time. Take your time with this, because it's very important. This is very, very relevant conversation to see that without my conceptual attempt at integration, embodiment, harmonizing, is there disharmony? Like, is there a
The
problem?
thing is, I think it's like, I totally hear what you're saying, and it's totally valid, and I understand all of it, and I see all of it. And I think where the where I can seemingly get pulled into the story is like a human story can play out any way. So like the human story can play out like as if it's trying to harmonize and all. You know, and that's why like I think the longer you're in Satsang, the ideas that can come up get more and more subtle or something. And like so it can be very easy to feel like you're totally open and all, where really there's like a subtle idea playing. You know, I feel like it can be like that, and it's hard to, I mean, I don't think you really need to explain it, like it's really only for me to say it, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, I think like it feels like in this expression, which is really only the story, which I'm saying as well, but it feels kind of natural and good, and it's just kind of what happens is that like something wants to continue to look at all the kind of false beliefs and all, you know, like that, and they can leave or not leave, and it's just, I think it's just the same thing. I don't know. I don't really know what I'm saying, but yeah, really, what's really happening is all of that is here in the mind. Whatever happens in the mind, and there's a complete, like it's just in a complete different realm or something. It's in a complete different realm, a complete different arena. That recognition, you know, because sometimes it can seem as if the recognition of yourself or something is really in this play of life or something. It can seem like that, but it's really not there at all. even though of course like this does reflect on like the way we say it's a mirror, so it does seem to mirror something and it kind of reflects something, but well, you can't say it gets it wrong, it gets it obviously totally right. It's just our brain doesn't, our mind doesn't know how to interpret it, or like you say, our mind doesn't know how to say what's going on. And I guess something is just seeing. So I think my speaking to you is just something trying to like affirm or like deepen that like resolve of what I'm seeing, is that like there's really a complete detachment. Even now I'm kind of, something is inviting myself to see like that I'm not even in this. Really. I'm not in this. I don't even know what all of these words and all, they're just something else. Like they've got nothing to do with me.
I get the feeling as well. Yeah.
But yeah, that play is there, and I guess like there can be like a pull into that play, because it can seem almost like, so because it includes God and it includes love and it includes like waking up, and it includes like being free of conditioning. So therefore like the kind of like it can be like very tempting to get pulled into that, even in a very kind of fine or subtle way. But I'm just I guess I'm just presenting this aspect of consciousness or something to say, like even this I don't need, or you know, and to just really to be in that awakeness more in a very clear way, and not just for like, even there is no me, but for anyone who wants it.
Fully together with you. Fully together. Fully in my heart. I know I'm in your heart as well.
And I love the idea of just like putting my head at your feet, and it brings me great like joy to be able to do that, even if it's in like imagination or even saying it in words. Like, so I'm putting my head like, I feel like physically, even though I'm not physically there, but physically I'm just like that, because it just means love for me.
So touched by hearing you. Thank you. So, made me speechless now. I started with so much vigor and fire. Like almost like a pea old man. Thank you. So okay. What is this left to say? Who really has to come? Everyone really has to come. Okay. Let's go. Can I go to Mahesh first? I haven't heard him in a bit.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
But yes, very well. I can hear you very well.
It's very nice. I only came into Satsang late, and just as you and Amba were beginning to talk, so it was very nice to listen, and it actually helped me a lot with what has been coming up here. A lot of anxiety has been coming up. It's like starting a new job, or coming back to working as a tour guide, and a lot of kind of preparation needs to happen, and a lot of kind of a lot of mind, and seems like there's a lot of personal identification tied up with this preparation and this kind of ability to do the job well. And
can we explore this really for a moment and see whether it is inherent in preparation, whether identification is inherent in preparation. Can we look at that for a moment and see what let's zero in on this a little bit, because that caught my attention a little. So, in what way is identification inherent in preparation?
It's not inherent. What happens here, I think, is some egoic identification with it's like a fear of not being able to answer questions,
Yeah.
and a fear of it's like there's some fear of judgment, fear of negative judgment, of kind of, you know, inability and unworthiness and all of this kind of yeah. To answer your question, it's not inherent. The identification is not inherent in preparation, but here there seems to be a lot of personal identity mixed in with the idea of me as a tour guide, and a lot of kind of anxiety about that. Yeah.
Okay, so suppose our project was to help the tour guide persona, because you were tour guide yesterday or whenever, and then all these things happen, and then you'll be tour guide tomorrow or today or whenever, and then these things will happen. Now, to this one that has to play the tour guide, what is the best gift we can give to that one right now? Will the dwelling on its identifications and its feelings, apparent feelings, will that be a gift suitable to give of like being in satsang? Like in satsang, apparently we are here to give each other the highest gift. So, what could be the highest gift that we can give to this one who will suffer from these conditions tomorrow?
The answer that comes, and I think it comes from a place of fear, is give him all the information that he needs.
Yes. Now, if I were to ask you that if you had a choice, no? If you had a choice to pick, if I could introduce to this one that is here now, that God is its very presence, God, the highest being in the universe, is your very presence, versus all the tour information, what would you pick?
Well, it's taking a while because what's happening here is like, but I already know
Yeah.
that, you know,
Yeah.
and that's lovely when I'm just resting in that, but that does not help me to do my job
Yeah.
in my personal life and identity.
Yes, and that has been the theme since we had the podcast conversation. That has been the theme in some way of this sharing like this. No? So, and you came in later, so you missed that part where we said, okay, now if you look at the practical life, what are the things that are most essential for you to have a practical life?
You want to just tell me to save time?
Maybe I should. So, let's speak in a worldly way then for a moment, because we are talking about the practical life. What is essential is that your heart keeps beating and your breath keeps flowing, and the millions of processes that are happening in this body, fighting infection, and even the force which is keeping the cells of the body together. See, all that has to function firstly, on top of which only you can claim to have any sort of practical life, isn't it? So who's doing all of this? Like the heart beats pretty consistently, 80 beats per minute or whatever your usual heart rate is. Your breathing is also synchronized pretty well. It knows how to take out oxygen from the breath and oxygenate the blood and the cells. All this millions and millions of processes we don't know, digestion and I don't know what is happening, which goes into running the life of one body, apparently. No, again, we are speaking in a worldly way, so let's look at it that way. Now, it is fairly apparent that that's quite intelligent. The one that is running this body, that intelligence, let's call it the intelligence itself. If you don't want to say God, then that intelligence which is running this body is very, very intelligent. Much more than I would say, and you tell me if this is true or not. I would say much more intelligence than our mind carries around.
Yeah.
You see, because suppose for a moment that your mind was given all these tasks. Every moment you have to beat the heart, tuck, tuck. You have to get the breath in, tuck, tuck. You have to run, you have to move, you have to speak, you have to get all the blood flowing, you have to do all of that. It could not do it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, if this intelligence is doing all of this, is that intelligence making a distinction and saying, okay, now the rest of it, which is your preparation, which is your speaking to the tourists that come, all of that I can't do, that you have to do. Is that intelligence saying that? Is it?
No.
So I would pick the one that is more intelligent to do that also. Is it? And one promise I can give you is that here it feels pretty apparent that what is speaking in satsang seems to be that same intelligence, the voice of the same intelligence. So if it can speak in satsang, does it say, no, I cannot speak when I'm talking to non-spiritual people? It's not doing that. You see? Now, if it needs to play the game of reading, preparing, memorizing, all of that also, do you feel like it is not worthy enough, capable enough of doing any of that also?
No, I feel like the mind that's tripping itself up.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. So you recognize the trouble. So that is the mind saying that it is making categories and saying, no, this is about spirituality and about God, but that is about my work and practical life and all of that. But your intuition, your heart, your divine presence, your being is not making any such distinction, isn't it?
no.
So trust that. Trust that. It's always with you. And I'm not just saying these words. In that trust, there is a family life. Apparently, if you need to make categories, there's a family life that functions here. There's a work life that functions here. There's a sangha that functions here. There's the sharing of satsang that functions here. But it functions here without the necessity of these mental categorizations, which cause so much trouble. You see, I see in all of you, so much trouble can be created out of this. You see, so like Amba did and Kim did before that, allow your mouth to speak. Allow your eyes to prepare if they are going to. Allow your nose to smell. Allow everything to just unfold. You see, there's a supreme intelligence which is running this universe. We don't need to amplify it with our notions about how it should go and how it should not go. See, and now is the toughest part. The toughest part is allow it fully, openly, with no concern about the outcome. See, Because if there is an outcome which is more auspicious for you, which intelligence knows that better?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because otherwise what will happen is you will want to think of it as some sort of a cheat code, or I go into God mode in my life. So now Ananta has told me that God is in my heart, so God can do anything. So I will just, just show up in front of those tourists, and I will just be able to tell them that in 1586 this is what happened. And it may not, God may not show up in that way.
Yeah.
It's up to God. So what I'm saying is that moment to moment live like that, where if in the play of that divine intelligence, some papers have to be gone through, some things have to be done, allow that also to unfold. So it is not a God mode cheat code to life. The discovery of God as your divinity is not meant to give any special advantage to Mahesh's life.
Yeah. So allow anxiety also.
Allow?
Anxiety, fear also.
Yes,
Everything.
allow it. But you will notice that if you are able to just remain in the perception of it without the comparing labels, then it may not seem as burdensome. Because we may not realize that when we say anxiety, see, we are not only meeting what is perceived in front of us like a vibration, we are not only meeting that vibration, we are meeting a very, very loaded sort of concept. You see, and it is loaded with all the baggage for which we have used that word in the past. You see?
Yeah.
So when you meet it in this combination, it may seem to be overwhelming. So try one experiment with me. When it happens, see if you can remember this. Meet it completely openly for what it is. I guarantee you two things. One is that you never met this expression or this vibration in exactly the same way before. You see? That is the first guarantee. And the second guarantee is that no matter what comes, if you leave it without its label, it will not seem like too much suffering or overwhelming for you. So, so just try this experiment. Just like the great sages said in the past that you cannot step into the same river twice. You cannot have the same perceptual experience in your being twice. You can. Everything is possible in consciousness, but from experience, I can tell you that it doesn't seem like you notice the same perception twice. You see? So to label it as that, you see, is it enables us to put ourselves in a conceptual narrative, but is not necessarily the best healing that you can experience. Your pure perception is the best healing that you can experience.
Thank you.
And this is the classic Guruji thought experiment. No? That what is, you may have stage fright or something, you may call that anxiety, but vibrationally the quality may not be so different when you're excited to go on a holiday. So can you really verify that this is what this is and this is what that is? And even if it is similar or it's strong or it's different, whatever it may be, if your being remains unhurt by it, if yourself, which is aware even of being, remains unhurt by it, there is no reason to be anxious about anxiety. Otherwise, most of our anxiety is about not having anxiety. How do I make sure I don't get anxiety? So it's like a conceptual anxiety that we have, which is trying to build a defense against some vibration which shows up. You see? And how well does that defense work? It may be actually not a defense, it may be an invitation.
Yeah. Yeah. I've found actually that it can quickly, with a change of thought, it can quickly go from fear to excitement.
Only,
As you say.
only our defenses can be attacked. It is only our defenses which can be attacked. If you do not have a shape, you cannot be shaken. So our acceptance, our welcoming, our non-resistance, our openness, without trying to make a defense out of it, may be the best defense. And in our conceptual defenses, may be the fodder for attack.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good. Okay. So Jida wants to sing, so we'll wait for that. Let's go quickly to everyone else. Adelina and the children. What's up? Hello.
Thank you for. Hello. Thank you.
Anna and Kalin.
I think I need to expose a number of items.
Okay, let's go. One.
There is some anger here, even towards my children sometimes.
Oh, that's obvious. I mean, that's natural. What's the point of having children if you can't get angry? You thought it's about love, is it?
Yes.
Oh.
And I'm starting to build this thought or belief that we've spent too much together, and some of us, we spent too much together, and
Too much time together. Is it time? Spend too much what? Time together?
We spent everything together.
Spend everything, time, money, everything. Okay.
Everything. And they are distracting my attention.
Always told you they are my friends.
What did you say?
They are my friends. They don't allow you to mope on your conceptual suffering.
I don't know, Father, what's going on. But, am I too clingy to carry this to in Satsang with me?
Am I too clingy to carry all this to Satsang with me?
All this, as in to carry these children, the two children in Satsang with me.
No, you have to get them here. Where will you leave them alone?
I don't know. I can send them to their father if I need to.
No, I'm happy to have them. They are my best friends.
And do you think Guruji is of the same view?
I'm speak on his behalf, but I'm sure his heart feels the same way.
Okay. When I'm angry, very angry, and when I'm very angry, and the expression that happens can give headaches to many people. And I think it's a result of my, it's a result of my ego who wants things in a certain way sometimes. So can I leave you to handle this for me, please?
You want me to do things in a certain way.
I don't want you to, I want me not to be clingy
I
to
know,
this.
I'm just messing with you. Don't worry.
You do the right thing. Whatever I ask for, you do what has to be done, okay?
Well, I've been sleeping at the job so far.
No, I don't think you're sleeping. You're doing a great job. I don't think I think I'm not open enough.
Show me where, how are you not open? Show me where is the closed.
Yeah.
You mean you know too much?
I feel like saying I don't know what's going on.
Then that is open. Then that is it. That's the simplest definition of open.
Okay.
Then how can you be troubled if you don't know what's going on? To be troubled, you need to know.
There is an assessment where I don't like to be angry because this anger somehow affects me inside.
Pull all of this into your I don't know.
Okay.
Whether you're angry or not, whether you are too angry or not. All of these things you don't really know. Let's admit it. I don't know and you don't know. Neither of us know. So why speculate? How many wives did the king that was never born have?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. So why speculate?
And sometimes I'm rough on Kalina because he's not, I don't know, I know he's making a lot of effort in this journey together. You feel you need some more air conditioning or
Yes. You're doing such a fantastic job. You're doing such a fantastic job given the life situation that God has given you. So don't have to worry. He's a beautiful boy and has a beautiful child as well. So he's it's all right. Sometimes someone will come. Sometimes you will be hard on him, given he doesn't situation. It's all right. He understands. If you just keep communicating, it will be all right. And he's very sweet and very mature. So I remember him listening to Satsang with rapt attention, even the highest pointers and things. So just explain to him and keep communicating, he'll be just fine.
and he also had a question for you.
Ah,
Oh, and there is something else that I have to leave here.
what's this dance again? She's just like, what are you wasting time? All this talk and all that never helped anyone. Let's just dance.
I'm hungry.
Oh,
Sometimes there is when I try to sit in silence, sometimes there is this sleepiness and stale energy that comes up.
Yes.
And maybe we need to self-inquire into, or maybe I need to self-inquire into that. But
okay, it's okay. What will we do about it? It's okay. It's all right. Do you produce that energy like as Anna? Are you producing? Oh, I've come to satsang. Let me produce some sleep energy. You're not doing that. No, it comes. It's okay.
Yeah, I'm not.
As Madalena.
Some sleep energy. Thank God for that.
Recipe for sleep energy. You don't know the recipe, so don't worry. Don't find reasons to beat yourself up. Find reasons to meet God now. Nothing keeps God away from you, and God is all you need. I think you're going to sleep. You produce some sleep energy. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Don't beat yourself up and don't take yourself too seriously. Just enjoy it.
I do have a sense that when I hear Guruji, that I have to meet some standards. Yeah.
I'm telling you the standards you have to meet when you meet Guruji. Don't beat yourself up. Don't be too hard on yourself. Standard is good enough.
Thank you.
Don't allow anything to make yourself feel unworthy, guilty, any of these things. Nothing. Nothing. In the words you hear from my mouth, if it makes you feel fearful, guilty, or unworthy, just forget about that pointing. Just forget. There's enough. There are thousands of other pointings you can use. The mind somehow gets attracted to those things. It is not spoken with that intention ever.
I know, Father, I know. And I feel that. Thank you for that. I know that it was important to come up with this, whatever it is.
Good, good, good. All my love, all of you.
Thank you. Do you want to ask something, Karen?
What did Kalin want to ask?
Father, is it possible to not be open and empty? Like every thought always comes and you can't really stop it.
Yeah.
And then it goes by itself. You can't force being open and empty.
Yes, very, very nice. I love this question. Very beautiful. So the arising and the disappearing of the thought is not what open and empty is about. Yeah. So in that way, you're right. No thought can come and stay. You see, every thought comes and it goes. Comes and it goes. You see? So just allow it to do that naturally, is to remain open. You see? But we also, so how do we notice this? We notice this with our attention. You know, we notice the thought arising with our attention and that it is gone also with our attention. And the gap between thoughts, we notice both of these with our attention. Now, you'll also notice, if you look carefully, that besides attention, you also have something called the power of belief. See? Which can, with the thought is arising, it is saying, oh, I need to do more of this, or I'm not good enough for this, or I'm very good at this, whatever the thought may say, you notice that you have the power. I'm going to try and put it simply. You have the power to say yes to the thought, see? And accept it as if it is true about your reality, see? As if it is true about you. But these thoughts, these representations, they make up a fictional identity called the ego. You see? They make up this identity called the ego. So if you say, oh, I don't like broccoli, I like this. Oh, this is fine. I'm just taking examples. Okay, you can, I'm not forcing you to like broccoli. You can choose not to like broccoli. But if somebody was to then define Kalin, they would say, okay, he's a young boy, he's like this, he doesn't like broccoli, you know, he's very friendly, he listens carefully to Satsang. All this defines like an identity, which is very small compared to the reality of you. Okay? Which is very small compared to the reality of you. And in Satsang, we are talking about that which is your reality, much bigger, much more magnificent, much more vast than our mind can ever fathom. So as we are open and empty, that vastness is apparent to us. That spaciousness is apparent to us. That reality of what we are, which doesn't get harmed or hurt by what may happen in the world, that becomes apparent to us. So we see our invincible nature in this simple instruction, open and empty. But when we take on the truth value, the truthiness of what the thought is saying, it is just going to say, oh, you're just a little boy who doesn't like broccoli, you know. So, but you're much more than that, isn't it? So to recognize that you're much more than that is what we come to satsang for. And coming to satsang must happen only when it feels completely natural to you, as I know it happens in your case. But I don't force children to come or anyone to come for that matter, because everybody has to go through their life journey and go through their own life. So I'm very happy that at such a young age, you are interested in these questions and interested in satsang, but never feel like you are under pressure to find something, you know, you have to find the truth or something like that. Just take your own time. You're here in satsang. That is one of Mama's big gifts to you, that she's introduced you to satsang at such a young age. But also it's your own openness that brings you here. Like my own children don't like coming to satsang at all, as you've seen when you were here. Yeah, so and it's fine. I don't force them. See, I only force them if there's a special event with Guru Purnima or something and we're having a celebration. Then I say you better come to it. It's not optional. But otherwise, I don't force them to come to satsang to hear me or something. So just naturally go with the flow. You're doing very well, and you know that you're in my heart always, and always taken care of.
Yeah.
All.
Thank you, thank you.
You're so welcome, so welcome. Love to.
Anna, come.
Come.
High five.
Wanna help? You know.
Come and say hello, Anna. Hi there.
It's all right. Maybe we can move the computer towards her. That's all.
Say hello. Good job.
Go my dear. All my love.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's go to Supriya. Supriya, deal is still on or no?
Yes, Father. Namaste, Father. So, Father, something that you said earlier today, and I think it seems to be the theme of the satsang today, that just reminded me of a oppression of this mind that has been held on for a long time, I guess. So I wanted to expose that. You spoke about when you said that you could be in physical expression fighting a war,
Yes.
and yet be internally very present, very plant-like, and that triggered a lot of stuff inside, which of course through during the satsang, a lot got cleared through Kim and Amba. I mean, Amba just spoke something which was actually happening here, and she was just speaking. But Father, that there's this that hook that kind of that goes into the repression is the question of how are you in integrity? You know, if the expression outside is something else and internally you might be open and empty, but if love doesn't flow the way it's supposed to, then you're not free. So that's the catch, that's a trump card for my mind.
Inwardly you're open and empty, but love is not flowing.
It could be anything. It could be like the expression should be the same as what you're feeling inside. If it's love inside, then the expression should be like that. And that's been a long catch always, like, constantly.
This just sounds like too much pressure to me.
Yes, yes. And it is oppressive, Father. So I wanted to expose.
Like I have this photo of Maharaj always staring at me. This photo of Maharaj is always staring at me.
Yes, Father.
What is his heart is showing on his face? What is showing? If you were to cross this man on the street, no, you may want to run.
Father, actually, it is Maharaj's one of the pointings, the famous ones that you also keep clarifying all the time. And there was a time when the expression and the experience was the same, where it was just so open and empty that everything was welcome to be expressed or to come. And it did not matter how this body was expressing in this world, but it was just here, it was open. But there is this trick that keeps catching here.
So now you're inwardly open and empty, right? Now, what tool do you have to make sure there is full expression of that emptiness and freedom in your body, and apparently this body which is in your body? With what tool will you create that? When I say, okay, let me clarify this point first. So, when I'm talking about integrity, I'm saying that if you're believing something about yourself, but you come to satsang and you just say, no, I am the self, nothing can touch me. But actually, you're believing that you're getting beaten up in life. And the noise is it coming from your?
No, Father.
So, so that is a sort of denial. And integrity is to say, no, this is what I'm really believing about myself right now. I feel like this is true, and so you bring it up so that it can be cleaned up or chopped away or whatever has to happen to it. But when we keep pushing it under the rug and saying, no, in reality, I'm just the self, I am the self and all of that. But actually, we are just believing that I'm this little body and I'm going to die. So might as well say, I feel like I'm the body and I'm going to die. Integrity. It's not like, God is shining in your being, so God must be expressed through your aura or something. That is just absurd stuff. Like your friend told you or whatever, that you're so far from the truth. But can you speak the truth? Who can speak the truth? I have been trying for 10 years. Not one word has come out which is true. The truth is too broad for my mouth to speak. What can I do? So I only have to peddle these lies, hoping that they point somewhere to reality. So all these representations that the unborn is not enough. You see? To remain in the unborn is not enough. Are not representations that are my direct insight or my direct experience, so I cannot give them validity. Now you may say that I tried the unborn thing, it didn't work out because so then I would say, okay, that is being full of integrity because you're sharing openly that it didn't work out. But I may question your idea of what work out and doesn't work out mean. Okay, what is your idea of integrity? Now you're open and empty inside. Now what do you have to do? Just be sweet and nice. Is that?
So, Father, no, I don't know, maybe it's a gathered concept, but a spiritual concept, but it feels like that the expression needs to change or something.
To what?
To what you are presently, to something which is
Okay,
more.
express yourself exactly like you are presently. These are impossible, absurd things. I mean, how will you express your presence? Will you just go like that, like that? Jeete raho, bacha, jeete raho. Is it like this? And even if that happens, that's okay. I'm not saying that cannot happen. But what would it? I mean, what are we saying?
No, Father, they are as absurd as they're coming out from my mouth right now, but they're these hidden certain,
I mean, don't worry. So, what would it be? You're just in the unborn. Now, what should happen?
yeah, that
Okay, let me help you. Let me see if I'm getting this because I don't want to let go of this question. Many in this room are nodding also, so I realize that the question is not just yours. So in your being, you may be experiencing a lot of love. In your being, you may be experiencing a lot of love, maybe spewing through, joy may be spewing through. Now, if that is happening inwardly, then do you have to pressurize yourself to express that, or is it not natural? And even if it is not coming outwardly, and you're shouting at your daughter to study, is that an expression of lack of love? What are we judging ourselves on?
yeah, something like that only, Father. What you
No. There is no other tool or mechanism which will make this bridge happen. If it is inwardly there, it will find a way to express itself. And firstly, like your main discovery is that you are not this body. The
Yeah.
body at best is this instrument which is as part of this universe, which is being perceived. Just like a dream body is no different from the dream. You see, and yet in the dream it can seem like I am somehow contained in this, and this is my primary expression. But the entire dream is your expression. You see, and that's exactly how it is here as well. So don't have this kind of pressure. Of course, it's natural for us to say, yes, yes, this is how my expression is, and this is how my expression isn't. But this is just provisional. Don't take that too seriously. Otherwise, just imagine the pressure you put on yourself. This
Yes,
phase,
Father.
this phase should be like this. I should not get angry at my husband and my daughter because I'm supposed to be open and empty. What is all that? That is, in your openness and emptiness, that is freedom. And in freedom, everything can come.
Yes.
Everything can go.
Father, somehow I can testify whatever you're saying. It's totally here, and the trick keeps on playing of, oh no, but this should not be like that. So this is So I just.
So, like I was telling you the other day, don't beat yourself up in this way that you are not enough. You are fully enough. Fully enough. And don't allow or don't buy into notions when they seemingly coming from the seeming others that you are not enough, or you're not free enough, you're not devoted enough, you're not worthy enough, you're not being enough. Basically, it says you're not being enough.
Yeah, exactly,
It is
Father.
always enough. How can being not be enough? Is there more being or less being? Can I look at you and say, let me see you closely. Your being is at 35% today. Your being. There is no such thing like that. Don't pressurize yourself at all in any way. Just relax, chill out, enjoy. Is that so difficult? Like now you may pressurize yourself with this. Am I being fully chill as Ananta? So that
No, Father.
that is the checker guy. That is the checker guy who will take what it hears and make a task out of it.
I'm just so open to fully empty myself up with all these concepts that I've gathered through hearing.
Haven't you given your spiritual encyclopedia to me like last year or something?
Yes, Father, but it just keeps soaking in.
It's coming back. I have to put it in the lock and key here.
Yes. Oh, no, Father. Thank you so much, Father. It just already a lot of pressure keeps releasing every time this is
Your
posted.
spiritual encyclopedia is like what Thor's hammer. He just raises and
It's like blotting paper, Father.
oh, now I have to be spiritual right now.
But so beautiful, Father, like how Amba was sharing, I could not hear much of what you were trying to explain in between. But the crux of it is very much felt here. Yes. Yes. Thank you.
You must hear the podcast also if you haven't heard.
I haven't heard, Father. I will. Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Let's go to Satyam.
Hello, Ananta-ji. Namaste. Sorry, the lights, the power is going on and off. This is Rishikesh. So.
Well, it was the same here in Bangalore. Just before we started Satsang, the power came.
Okay. I was just talking to my mom, and then she had something to say. She says, why you raise your hand? What you want to ask?
Yes, that's my question to you also.
and then she said in Hindi, you have less acceptance because yeah. And I said, and then we started. I said, you don't know anything. I have to ask.
What is the Hindi for you have less acceptance?
She said, स्वीकार भाव कम है आप में, तुम में.
Oh, that's very, it's very Shuddh Hindi, very good.
स्वीकार भाव नहीं है. And then she started, and it's about. I try not to get too serious about it because I really go into the story of it. It's this attack which I had 4-5 years ago. There was a stent in the artery.
Yes.
It was a heart. I've come to a point even I just don't want to even say it's a heart attack because it sounds so damn. Sorry, my friend, fucking serious. It's really heavy on my system. And I have heard Muji Baba talk about, he would use the word pump. So I said it's a pump attack.
Oh.
It's so that is there's a sense of joy after seeing whatever it was seen in his presence and in your presence, and the sense of being and enjoying. But there's that story of this attack, and fear is the fear around it, which drags. I go into that story and I buy into it, and it's almost like a panic because I have to take a certain medication every day. That sort of is there, and I just don't want to be in fear,
Yes.
Do you understand? Yes. And I know there's sometimes even it's very crazy how the mind works. Sometimes even there's a full acceptance of, okay, if this body has to fall down, then I open my wings, and all sorts of very poetic words to the other world and other side, and all sorts of. But the fear factor is there, and I still remember when it was happening, I was experiencing that attack. There was no really fear because I didn't know about it.
Yes.
I had no clue what it was actually.
Yes.
But only after the memory of it, that's creating the fear.
Yes.
And this is all. I'm not asking a way out, but I'm just putting it out really.
In fact, fear
So
of
I will follow Amma's guidance. No? Amma is older than me. So if the fear comes, can you not accept that it comes? So when we have the benchmarks or templates about how we should be by now, then we feel like I've been in satsang so long and I'm not being fully free as long as this fear is coming.
Yeah.
But freedom is not that. Freedom is allowing all states to come. Everything can come. So to be in acceptance of that, to be open to that coming and then going also is freedom. Why do you have to decide how things have to be? I'm not saying that rising of fear has to become some sort of enjoyable experience or something. See? But if it is arising, it's natural for it to arise. If you had this pump attack or whatever you want to call it, then it may be natural to experience some fear from time to time, and to put yourself in a position which is resistive to that. This is definitely not going to help the fear. You know that the resistance only energizes these. So when it comes, just accept it and don't accept it like a false tactic. I'm accepting it so that you can go. That is still not acceptance. That is a convoluted way of resistance. So accept it because it is coming, and then because it is coming, then it must be God's will. So it must be Guru's kripa that it is coming.
I think there was in one of your meetings, satsangs, you said there are two kinds of people. The one who they never want to go from here, and the other one is they don't want to be here.
I said like that?
I think on one of your two kinds of. So I think because this sense of being and this beauty and this nectar which we are, so there's almost an attachment to this form.
Now, what I told Supriya, no? I feel like it's time to tell you also that. So just give me your spiritual knowledge.
It's not coming out.
Although I can't see you, I can sense it's not. Just return to your full innocence. Return to your innocence. Like you came out from the mother's womb, you're next to mother now. Become innocent like that. Don't know anything about anything. It's good. I promise you everything will be fine. Don't worry.
Yeah, your words, it's not even trusting your words. It's almost like there's a knowledge what you're saying and know this in my heart.
All heart knowledge is allowed. All head knowledge can be chopped.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Full. Am I saying something?
No, she's just.
Yeah, I have no question.
She says she has no question. In fact.
Yeah, I totally sankar bhav. Like I enjoy moment and moment. Fear will come after fear of death. So when we accept everything, life moment लाइफ को स्वीकार करते हैं जैसे वैसे ही डेथ को भी स्वीकार करेंगे करना ही वो ट्रस्ट पहले आना चाहिए ना ट्रस्ट जब तक ट्रस्ट ही नहीं है एग्जिस्टेंस पे तो फिर तो मन इधर उधर डोलता रहता है ना तो मेरे को क्वेश्चन नहीं है पर इसके क्वेश्चन जब होते हैं तो मेरे को थोड़ा फियर फील होता है कि ही शुड बी समथिंग एनी गुरु इसको पार ले जाए कंपैशन आता है ना तो आपकी कृपा होगी ऐसे ही है ना हो जाएगा सब कुछ, जो होगा।
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let's go to Amanda first and then Jada will sing. Amanda? Are you able to unmute? Yes.
Good evening, Father.
Good evening, my dear.
How are you, Father?
Good.
Just want to say hi to you and
Oh.
thanks for everything, Father.
Thank you. I haven't seen you in a while, no?
Yes, Father. Got stuck up with the work.
Good.
Yeah. But Lena is coming.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yes, she's.
All my love to all three of you. All blessings. All love.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, let's go. Jada.
Hello, Father.
Yeah.
Cannot see you. First, I want to find you.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome on the screen.
Yes, yeah, come. Yes, so I just wanted to give this song to you. For a very long time, actually, I wanted to sing, so this is the time. It is again from Yunus Emre, the Sufi poet, which is very, very dear to my heart. So please enjoy. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. 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 Seni ben severim, candan içeru. Seni ben severim, candan içeru. Yolun vardır bu kandan içeru. Yolun vardır bu kandan içeru. Şeriat, tarikat, yoldur varana. Şeriat, tarikat, yoldur varana. Hakikat, marifet, andan içeru. Hakikat, marifet, andan içeru. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. 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 Beni sorman bana, ben değilim. Beni sorman bana, ben değilim. Biri ben vardır bende, benden içeru. Biri ben vardır bende, benden içeru. Süleyman kuş dili bilir dediler. Süleyman kuş dili bilir dediler. Süleyman var Süleyman'dan içeru. Süleyman var Süleyman'dan içeru. Yunus'un sözleri hundur ateştir. Yunus'un sözleri hundur ateştir. Kapında kul var sultandan içeru. Kapında kul var sultandan içeru.
Thank you all so much for being in Satsang today. Sadhguru Shri Muji Baba ki
Jai. Sadhguru Shri Ananta Ji ki Jai.
Guru Kripa ke